Hello, my name is Jennifer Savari, and thank you for stopping by. This pocket letter was created for the February is Blue event on the website pocketletterpals.com. I love creating pocket letters, and I put a lot into my designs, not only to make the recipient happy, but also because after I've sent it away, I am left with so many ideas for cards, tags, gift box ideas. It's almost like a 10-in-1 effect with the effort that you put into one. And a lot of different dies were used on this pocket letter, and they're very functional dies. For example, the crown and the key were not necklaces, but using the 2 heart necklace dies, I was able to create them into necklaces. So you'll see me using a lot of different dies in my videos, but you'll also see me using them in a lot of different ways. The layers that I always use are the pinpoint rectangle layers. They fit the pockets perfectly, of course, but they create even layers that look absolutely beautiful. For the base layers, I always use the heavier 110-pound cardstock. It just creates a sturdier panel. And then for the other layers, the blue and the silver, I used the next size down. And for the silver one, only the outside edge was going to be shown, and so rather than waste that inside space, I used a 3rd size to create a frame so that I could use the center for other embellishments, and that worked out really well. Using that same 3rd size down, I created the panels that were for the sparkle layers that the necklaces sat on. And the Diamond Dust by Twinklets is absolutely fabulous. Not only is it pure white and with tons of sparkle, but the particles are larger, and so it doesn't create the same mess that ultrafine glitter does. The thing about it is that you want to create an even layer of the glue, and so rather than glue the entire piece, I did it in halves so that those little glue lines would not show up, because they do if you don't do it this way. I pressed really firmly into the Diamond Dust, tapped it off, and then the thing to know here is that the little edges with the larger particles that you'll see, those dry rock hard. So if you want those cleaned up, I just got them while they were wet so that I didn't have to deal with them dry. And then the postage layering rectangle set is awesome and works beautifully with the pinpoint layers. I embossed these in the same position for all the panels, and did so after I cut them. And so then I just glued them on and to create that layer, and I loved how the little dots of the pinpoints showed up in between the little postage stamp spaces. It really worked out well. So after layering all the cuts, we have the 4 white panels, and I added glitter all around the edges of both. And then there were 6 of the blue, including the tag. The bows were probably my favorite part. These are the Frantic Stamper small bows, and they are so cute. They're simple and elegant and so much fun to make. I did use the 80-pound cardstock rather than the 110 on this. I just found that the curves were easier with the lighter cardstock, and I did use a tool just to kind of help create that bend in the bow. The thing about these, you'll need to hold them just a little bit, and then you want to make sure that the edges of the bow, when you look at it straight on, the back side's not showing through. In this case, I just wanted that crisp look. Once everything has a chance and you've held it for a while, you can then apply the center part to it. So the ribbons can be used in a couple different ways, and this is so cute. It could be used as the top of a tag, or it's just adorable. For this pocket letter, I wanted them to have angles to them. And so when I applied the ribbons, I really wasn't concerned about the angle until the glue had a chance to set up a little bit and get tacky. And that's when I kind of started messing around with the angle. And I wanted them to be all about the same, so I just put one over top of the other when I was done. For the necklace layers, I basically took heavy cardstock and cut out 2 out of the white so that I could build up the dimension on those. And I just glued them together. And then once those were glued together, I then put the silver layer on top of that. And then when I put it onto the card, you know, there was a slight, I tried to center that chain coming up through the center of the bow. There was a slight angle there and it didn't bother me too much. I think for the larger heart, I had to cut the chain and reposition it a little bit, but for the most part, that angle didn't bother me too much. Gluing onto the diamond dust is tricky. I just had to build up the layers until it got tacky enough to stick, and it was a finicky process. After that was dry, I trimmed off the excess chain and then added the center of the blue die cut for an inlay to match the Tiffany look. By the way, that's a really fun website. Their products are cute. And then I used a second layer of the silver just to create an extra polished look on top. Sometimes when you're gluing and inlaying, the top can get messed up with this foil cardstock. Since the key and the crown do not have chains attached to them, I just die cut an extra silver heart, clipped off the chain, and glued it onto the key and the crown. And once those were glued and the bow was attached, I did the inlay and then the top layer of silver just to finish it in a really crisp, nice way. So once all the panels were done and dry, I went ahead and put a rhinestone in the center of each bow. And I do use the Swarovski crystals. I love the colors that they come in, and I love the way that I can store them. And of course, the sparkle is just so beautiful on these. So that's what I did there. And then as soon as I worked pretty quickly because I just wanted these to get under some weight to dry. Otherwise, the edges will curl because we've used a lot of glue between everything. So I always just let it set until it's really nice and flat. The tattered lace dies, I used the center cut out of them for the blue panels. And the important thing to me here was that I found some really super white glitter. The diamond dust wouldn't work here because the particles are too large. And I found that the Elizabeth Craft Design silk microfine glitter had no other colors mixed in with it. Sometimes when you find white glitter, it'll have a green or a pink cast to it. This was the purest white I could find, and it really is beautiful glitter. So once I attached all 4 of those panels, I used the Penny Black Cityscape die set. And I just cut out the buildings and layered a gray layer behind the windows, and then cut out a blue one for the Tiffany and did a gold backing for that one. And then the Charisse labels, I did blue for the backing and a white glitter layer for the top. And oh my gosh, I about died. I cut these out the first time and I had a wedding announcement stuck in my scrap pile. I felt so bad. So I felt that the buildings needed something underneath them, and so I did use some snow text. I really didn't want to create a winter scene here, so I just used just a little bit, and I just kept layering it and trying not to overwork it, and just kind of built it up until it created that base that I was looking for. And I was so excited about the little Tiffany shopping bag. I used the Memory Box Tall Shopping Bag die and the Poppy Stamps Abundant Gifts. And this was just a very simple die to use. This die is kind of hard to find. I decided to go ahead and put up an Etsy store for dies that were hard to find that I did on my videos. I hate it when I see a really fun die on a YouTube video and I can't find the die anywhere. So I did call Memory Box and they said, yeah, I could sell them. So those are on my Etsy store. There's a link down below if anybody wants one. But what I did was I just basically glued it all together and cut out white strips to make the little package. And then I triple layered the bows for that extra dimension and just stacked those on. The top layer had glitter on it, and so that just kind of matched the theme. The string I used was pretty stiff string, so I had to just spend some time bending it and twisting it and working it before I tried to glue it in so that it wouldn't fight that glue, but that came together as well. So this was just a really fun way to add in a couple extra charms. I love those little handmade charms. I put in a couple bows and just a couple pieces of tissue paper tiny little pieces. It was super fun. For the lettering, I basically cut out letters. Baskerville font 31.5 is what I used for The Joy Comes Out of the Blue. And I basically made a stencil so that I could get them on as straight as I could. And I cut almost to the edge of each line so that I could peel up the stencil before it had time to glue to the letters, because the letters had glue on them. I was inlaying the letters and I didn't want it to create a mess of stencil being glued down as well. So that was a really fast rundown of a really tedious process. I did 3 layers built up off that stencil layer, and the top layer did have glitter. And another idea would be to put that shopping bag on the tag in place of those letters, and maybe put The Joy Comes Out of the Blue in a note inside the bag. I hope this video has inspired you guys, and thank you again for stopping by. Click subscribe and be notified of that envelope purse with the free downloadable template coming up. Just couldn't fit it in this video, but I hope you guys have a great day, and thanks again.